A bunch of detectives mill about in front of me. I sit dazed in the corner of the dimly lit room. It's all over. As the echoes from the gunshot faded, they were replaced by the thump of a body collapsing to the ground. And with that simple noise came the end of the man who controlled Senri, Arashima Kazuma, as well as the end of the nightmarish murders that had plagued Ueno. But for some reason, I don't feel that sense of relief that tells me it's all over. My heart's filled with pangs of regret and an empty feeling of powerlessness. Rin, Takako-chan, Shigasa Tokiko, and finally, Arashima-san. My precious friends with whom I had spent my life, I'd wanted to protect them at any cost. But in the end, it wasn't something I was able to do. Wait, there's still one more person. I get to my feet in an attempt to run out of this room, which is saturated with the smell of blood and gunpowder.
Whoa there, senpai! Could you try not to move? You're pretty gravely wounded.
Yaginuma stands in front of me, blocking my way. I can still move. Get out of my way! I shove him aside and drag myself forward.
Sheesh. Well, do what you want. Life is in your own hands now, so don't go blaming me if you die.
I can hear him chuckling behind me. In reality, my pains turn to a dull numbness. The only thing that fills my head is a burning sense of urgency. That's right, there's still something I'm hoping for. That she'll just be safe and sound. And the moment I get into the hallway...
Hey, there's somebody over here too!
An urgent cry comes from farther down the corridor. I run toward its origin. My pulse begins to race. Pushing detectives out of my way, I dash into the room. Kazuna! And... it feels like time has stopped altogether. I can hear the roar of my heart pounding noisily in my ears. A cold sweat breaks out over my body. Even at this distance, I can see that there's blood flowing out from her eyes. Did she meet the same fate as Koyuki and her sister? Though I feel like I'm about to collapse, I force myself to walk to her side. A detective grabs my shoulder and says something to me, but I brush him aside. Kazuna? There's no answer. I gingerly reach out and use a finger to wipe off the drops of blood on her eyelid. Her cheeks are ice cold. An oppressive feeling of despair fills my heart. I tenderly use my finger to do the same to her other eyelid. It's like touching a block of ice. I run my trembling fingers down her cheek, nose, and lips. Wait, what was that? I feel a faint breath on my fingertips. I quickly pick up her arm and check for a pulse. It's there, albeit very weak. She's alive. The strength drains out of my body after sighing in relief. I sink to my knees next to Kazuna. And then the wave of dizziness hits. My tension melts away, only to be replaced by the pain from my gunshot wounds. The detectives nearby shout,
"Doctor! Get these two a doctor!"
It's followed by the sounds of people milling about. Through what shreds of consciousness I have left, I send out a silent plea. Somebody, please hurry and save her. Kazuna. I hear the footsteps of people pouring into the room. I don't even get the chance to check who they are, as my consciousness chooses that moment to fade.
Someone's alive over here! Bring the medic!
Sure.
Did I stutter? Get your asses moving!
Two frenetic weeks have passed. The wounds Toji and I sustained didn't end up being as serious as they initially appeared. The doctor said that all the bullets passed clean through, and there was very little damage to my internal organs. In fact, the bruises Toji received all over her body were far more serious and would take quite a while to heal. However, all our injuries pale in comparison to Kazuna's. The eye wounds she got from a cow were deep, and for a period of time, they were worried that the area near her brain would get infected. Fortunately, her surgery was a success, and it looks like she won't end up losing her eyesight. Kazuna was discharged from the hospital to get some rest at home, but she still hasn't opened her eyes. With troubled expressions on their faces, the doctors had explained, "We're pretty much at a complete loss. Her mind's received such a huge shock that it refuses to let her open her eyes." Kazuna.
Oh, Shugo-san!
Upon hearing my voice, Kazuna's face lifts slightly, and the edges of her mouth soften a bit.
So you're here again today?
I can't really see her face behind all the bandages wrapped around her eyes. Despite that, I get a reassuring vibe from her. Yeah. I nod, then take a seat in a chair next to her bed. Kazuna faces the direction my voice comes from, a faint smile playing about her lips. Is a guy like me really someone she can depend on? In any case, a lot of tragedies have befallen us in this short window of time. To Kazuna, as well as the people around us. It's pretty obvious that she needs people around to support her. That's why I force myself to sound cheerful and say, "How are you feeling? Everything fine?"
Yeah.
Do you want to eat something? I remember you saying you didn't really have an appetite yesterday.
No, not really.
That's too bad. I bought some goodies for you today, too. Kazuna sounds somewhat troubled. I take a look at the table next to us. There's a mountain of assorted fruits piled up on there that haven't even been touched. Ah, well, whatever. I pull out today's sweets and leave them on top of the table. Hey, did you know, Kazuna? These are called half-killed. They had a ton of them in the gift shop in front of the station, so I bought some. They're actually kind of a specialty around here. Don't worry, I didn't get them to make fun of the condition Toji and I have been in for the last half-month or anything. It'd make me happy if you would go ahead and laugh or something. Kasuna's at a loss for words. Kazuna. I let out a small sigh and continue. You still can't remember anything?
Yeah.
She nods, her shoulders slumped in despair. I guess this is also one of the after effects of the murders. All the memories Kazuna had from around the time she was kidnapped by a cow have completely vanished.
I've just been spacing out the whole time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be a burden to you, Shugo-san.
I quickly search for words to soothe Kazuna, as she's looking pretty sad at the moment. There's no need to rush. Just take things at your own pace and try to remember. The worst is behind us, anyhow. After conversing for a while, Kazuna tells me she's tired and lies down. Her fatigue must be contagious because my mind's feeling pretty fuzzy as well. I can hear Kazuna breathing in and out at regular intervals. It looks like she's fallen asleep. The breeze coming in from the window ruffles her bangs. Even though it's practically spring, the outside air remains quite chilly. I stand up quietly and close the half-opened window. Extending my hand toward her forehead, I rearrange Kazuna's hair. She's still breathing peacefully. After watching her for a little while longer, I exit the room. I realize that the wide-open hallways of the Kohzuki Manor are completely silent. All I can hear is the lonely-sounding rattling of the windows. This place has been like this ever since I started visiting a week ago. It's a cold, dead, empty house. I feel as though it's completely cut off from the daily hustle and bustle of the world. Why on earth did Kazuna want to recover in a place like this? Besides, the bad blood between the Kozukis has become a major part of this tragedy. Kohzuki Ryoko has severed her ties with the Kohzuki family, causing her ex-husband Keiichiro to sink into depression. He now spends his days between his own room and his daughter's, hardly ever showing up to work. When we run into each other, there's no sign of his former arrogance. Instead, Keiichiro averts his eyes and walks away. The servants hold their breath and go about their daily chores as though nothing happened. I suppose it's inevitable. After all, the tragedy has only just passed. It'll probably take some time for the people who were involved to return to a normal state of mind. Of course, that includes me as well. As I walk through the eerily silent hallways, my mind wanders back to the events of 2 weeks ago. Senri, the organization that had committed that series of bizarre murders, underwent a complete collapse following the deaths of Arashima-san and Akao. It was proof positive of the dark ties between the top brass of the police and the fledgling cult. Following the closure of the case, those headlines were the talk of the town, but not even a week later they had already started slipping out of people's minds. Senri's devoted followers were forcibly awakened to reality and returned to their normal lives after witnessing their main temple go up in flames. The stand-in leader, Yura's body double, had escaped. Her whereabouts are still unknown. The police have been trying to track her down, but as of yet they haven't gotten any leads. Furthermore, the body of the true leader, Kohzuki Yura, was discovered in the mountains behind the compound, just as Shigesa Tokiko had testified. Since a few months had passed since she was buried, her corpse had started to decompose. Keiichiro, who had to go verify that it was really her, came close to vomiting several times. I, on the other hand, chose not to go. Deep in the recesses of a second-floor hallway, there exists a room it looks like nobody ever visits. Indeed, it's the room Yura was formerly locked up in. Light streams in from between the cracks of the boarded-up windows. Dust motes hang in the air. Apparently, it was used as some sort of storage room before they imprisoned Yura inside. It's a bleak, desolate room. I sit on the filthy bed in the corner and reminisce about Yura. Come to think of it, Kohzuki Keiichiro's search request was what got me involved in this whole mess. Even after I learned it was all a sham, I felt some invisible force compelling me to continue my search for Yura. Well, that and Kazuna begged me to. Besides, I harbored a desire to meet Yura one last time. I wanted to see her and finally apologize for hurting her. However, well, I guess that won't be happening. Yura had already been murdered by the time I found a lead. Hell, even Kazuna barely escaped the same fate. I wonder what my role in this whole fiasco ended up being. Akao Ikuma committed several murders because of me. Yura, twisted by the flames of jealousy burning deep within, had ordered Akao to murder all those girls. If that's really how things happened, it lays a heavy burden upon my heart. People who should not have died were forced to their doom. I hurt people who I should not have hurt. All this happened because I got involved. Despite all that's happened, Kazuna still needs me. When I went to visit her 1 week ago, Kazuna had started sobbing after hearing my voice. Tears dripped out from under the thick swath of bandages. Redemption. My regret and guilt will stay with me forever. But saving her life made me feel like I made a difference somehow. I have to support Kazuna and be her new eyes. If that lets me atone for all I've done, then... Suddenly I hear... Huh? The sound of steps approaching. Who could it be? The servants never come near Yura's room. Even Keiichiro's cooped himself up in his room these last few days, giving no indication that he's likely to come out. The only possibility left is Kazuna, who I just left sleeping inside her room. Before long, the footsteps stop in front of the room.
Well, well, what a coincidence, Shugo. Didn't expect to meet you here, of all places.
What the? As I'm fumbling for what to say, Nana walks into the room as though she owns the place and starts rummaging through drawers on the shelves and desk. What the hell are you doing here? Can't believe you would just waltz into somebody's room without permission.
Huh? Don't worry. I talked to the master of the house already. Don't mind me, just go ahead and keep acting shocked.
She keeps digging through things without even sparing so much as a glance for me. That guy actually gave you permission? Do you actually know Mr. Kohzuki?
Nope. First time I've ever met him.
Then how?
Well, I heard about how temperamental he can be. I prepared a letter of introduction from the mayor. Let me tell you, he was ever so welcoming once he saw that.
The mayor?
Of course, it's a forgery. No need for you to worry yourself. It's very, very well made, so I don't think he'll figure it out.
I can't believe you! Can you even call that getting permission? Before I have time to even voice my doubts, Nana quickly changes the subject.
Man, it's been a while since I laid eyes on you, Shugo. I really wanted to come visit you sooner, but I've been busy with my own things. I visited someone I knew at the home ministry, checked into detox for drug overdose. Man, those were some crazy days.
Drug overdose? I can hardly contain my shock. I knew you'd fall prey to some weird drug habit one day. It's no surprise, given her typical lifestyle. I can think of a lot of opportunities for something like that to happen.
How disgracefully presumptuous of you. I wasn't the only one who had to be hospitalized.
As she continues to ransack the shelves, Nana scoffs at me.
But from what I heard, a lot of terrible things happened to you. My condolences.
I'm pretty much fine. The real problem is with Kazuna, who's lost her vision.
Her. That's rather terrible, but I think she got what she deserved. I can't find it in myself to feel pity for her.
What did you say? Startled, I look up into Nana's face.
But since you're so naive, you probably think you have to support her and be her eyes, right? Man, you're such a damn softie. Whoa, I nearly threw up there.
Nana guffaws. Nana. I can't let this slide. Kazuna's a victim only because she got roped into this mess, not because she wanted to be. Do you realize what you're saying right now? Holding my anger in check, I glare at Nana. Depending on her answer, she may or may not have to pay for what she said. However...
Shugo, you're the one who doesn't understand. It's about time you opened your eyes.
She stops rummaging around and looks straight at me. It almost looks like she's pitying me. Huh?
I guess it might sound a bit cruel to you, but since it looks like you don't want to open your eyes...
She resumes her search. This time around, she looks inside a writing desk that's been left in the corner of the room. She starts speaking in a matter-of-fact tone while rooting through drawers.
Just shut up and watch. I just can't hold back when I see you obsessing over a dead girl. Besides, manipulating you is a special privilege that only belongs to me. I'm not gonna let someone just snatch that away.
Nana suddenly stops and exclaims.
Uh-huh. Found it!
She whirls around, holding a tattered old notebook in her hand.
Man, oh man, I'm lucky they left this room as it was. Oh, by the way, this notebook belongs to Kohzuki Yura. It's her diary.
Yura's diary? Nana opens it up and shows it to me. The page is virtually packed with slender characters.
Finding this means I've got all the data I need. It's the final piece of the puzzle to solving this whole deluded, crazy tragedy.
Nana grins as she hoists up the filthy notebook in triumph.
Let's go, Shugo. I think it's about time we put an end to this twisted tale of love.
10 minutes later, we're all assembled in Kazuna's room. Kazuna and Keiichiro both wear suspicious looks on their faces. I'm not surprised. Hell, even I have no idea what Nana's planning. However, Nana just stands next to the door, grinning. It doesn't look like she's about to start talking anytime soon. Hey, Nana, I don't know what you're trying to pull here, but how about moving things along, eh? Kazuna still hasn't recovered fully. We can't let you pull her along with you on your little whims.
Just wait a bit longer, will you? She should arrive soon.
What?
Our star today. She's not fully recovered either, and she started to feel a bit under the weather on the way over. I left her with the chaperone and went on ahead. They should be here any second now.
The star? When I hear Nana say those words, a vague sense of doubt starts growing in my heart.
It's somebody you know very well. I don't know if you'll be happy to see her, but...
Hey, you!
Keiichiro butts in, evidently tired of waiting.
I let you in because you said you wanted to take a look at the mansion, and yet you rudely invite yourself into my daughter's room. What the hell are you trying to do here?
He glares at Nana irritatedly. Unfazed, Nana laughs and says,
My apologies. You know how the letter said your mansion had some kind of cultural value. I made it all up. I actually came here in order to see your daughter face to face.
She giggles and scratches her head in embarrassment.
What?
After overcoming his shock, Keiichiro turns to me and says,
Takashiro-kun, what's going on here? Do you know this crazy girl?
I'm not sure what to say. No matter how I reply, I'll end up exposing my family's shame. Man, this sucks. While I'm struggling to find the right words, the object of my shame puts on a triumphant expression and steps forward.
How rude of me! I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? My name is Takashiro Nana. I'm Shugo's beloved little sister. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
After shaking hands with a confused-looking Keiichiro, Nana turns to Kazuna and says,
Nice to meet you too, miss. I'm Takashiro Nana. My, what a lucky day it is today!
She introduces herself in a theatrical manner.
Eh? Nana-san?
Kazuna's voice takes on a hint of bewilderment. A sharp twinge suddenly shoots through my brain. Despite the pain, I smile as I say, Oh, come on, stop it with the lame jokes. It's Kazuna. You guys used to get along really well. I've got a bad feeling about this. I pray that Nana's just making another one of her lame jokes. However, she replies coolly.
Well, I've heard quite a lot about you, so it doesn't feel like my first time seeing you. But this is definitely the first time we've met.
She faces Kazuna and smiles.
Right, Kohzuki Yura-kun?
Huh? Time seems to freeze. I can't believe what I've just heard, but it lends some credence to the seeds of doubt that I've had growing in the very back of my mind. When Kazuna came back to the Kohzuki estate, something about her had changed. I just didn't want to admit it. The very thought of even considering I had made some kind of mistake made me nauseous. It would have meant that the absolute worst possible thing had happened. That's why, since she called herself Kazuna, I just blindly swallowed it as correct and refused to allow myself to think otherwise. I was just averting my eyes from the truth. However, she just smiles back at me. The ringing in my ears is deafening. I just stand there speechless and slack-jawed, staring at Kazuna.
What?
The first person to respond is Keiichiro.
That's ridiculous. Yura's dead. There's no way this girl could be her. Right? Right, Kazuna?
Keiichiro's voice is shrill and tense. I realize immediately upon hearing his voice, Keiichiro had felt that something was not right as well. He probably tried to hide his doubts and treat Kazuna with deliberate kindness.
Yes, father.
She keeps on smiling.
I'm Kazuna. Nana-san's probably made some kind of mistake.
Nana flashes a wry grin after hearing those words.
Well, flat out denying it is pretty weak, in my opinion. Now, what should we do?
Then, a knocking sound suddenly echoes around the room.
Oh, what impeccable timing. I wonder if that's our star arriving?
Nana opens the door to welcome the sudden visitor. The person who enters the room is none other than Toji, wearing her typical grumpy look. What the? You're the star? I recall Toji being discharged from the hospital earlier than me, but why is she here with Nana?
No, I'm just the chaperone.
She points to Nana and says,
This weirdo asked me to act as a bodyguard.
And what a splendid job you've done, Toji-kun. How's she doing?
She felt better after a brief rest, but she's really exhausted. I don't want to push her too hard.
Nana bobs her head in agreement.
Yeah, she's still recovering and all. I guess we should get this over with as quickly as possible.
Unable to contain myself any longer, I butt into their conversation. Nana, are you saying that this girl you're referring to is... Nana puts on a beaming smile.
That's right. I'm pretty sure she's exactly who you think she is.
Nana swings the door wide open completely and addresses the girl standing there.
Come on in. Everybody's been waiting for you.
Sure.
There's the sound of soft footsteps approaching.
With no further ado, let me introduce a friend of mine.
With a theatrical flourish, Nana proclaims,
The real Kohzuki Kazuna-kun!
Let's Project.